The show is about to begin.
Hang in there, it is!
Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
Featuring Smylie Kaufman.
If you're at a local IHOP at a PGA Tour event, you might see Hideki Matsuyama.
Put it up in the stance, strengthen the grip.
His co-host, Charlie Hulme.
We can now pick 5 of the last 8 winners on the PGA Tour.
Oh, it's going hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Yes, sir!
And the biggest names in golf.
That's a great question. Can I talk about it?
I don't think I'm ready.
How good does it get, SK?
Why not us, Charlie?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to the Smylie Show. We are on site here in Philadelphia, actually right now in West Philadelphia.
Born and raised.
We got a little tour. We're going to tell you about the place we are to record the show. We got a little tour earlier, and the moment they said West Philadelphia, that really perked Smiley's ears up right to the theme song.
It was straight into it, and it's like they pressed a button, and that I had to just go straight into it,
like a sleeper agent, like a Zoolander. It's like they said like the words and just
shrug little shoulders a little bit, you know.
We're here, of course. It's the second major of 2026, Smylie. It is the PGA Championship at Aronimink, and golly, there's a lot we got to get to preview this tournament, but I feel like we have to lead in with where this week started. I mean, we played some good golf yesterday. We're driving around the neighborhood on the way over here today, looking at good golf courses. It's just good. There's so much good golf here in Philadelphia.
100%. I mean, there would be a course that would be driving by. It's like, oh, what is this course? And we'd have to go on maps and be like, oh, this is Overbrook or whatever. And then we're looking it up on Google, and we're like, these places look phenomenal. Next thing you know, we're driving past Marion. And then around the corner is another just gem of a golf course, of a place you've never heard of unless you lived in the area. And you get a sense of it too, just driving and getting a feel for just this area and just the topography, right? Just kind of the rolling hills and the perfect weather. I mean, we're getting an incredible week of spring Philadelphia weather, very low humidity, not a ton of rain in the forecast. So it looks to be a great week for the PGA Championship at Aronimink. We're so excited to be out there covering it. But when we're here I think at Cobbs Creek recording this, I think it's great to get into, what is to potentially be another great golf course that is being revitalized in a community that potentially could be seeing not only just some great golf out here, but a potential new home for PGA Tour golf in Philadelphia at a place that could serve the community for decades to come.
It absolutely can and will be. And I think so for all the golf nerds, we know we're here to preview the PGA Championship. But I think that if you are excited this week about Aronimink, if you are excited about, or have learned about other courses in the Pine Valley, I know is in New Jersey, but in the greater area here, Marion up the road, this project they have going on, we're on the Cobbs Creek campus here. This project has to excite you and is one that you want to keep tabs on. And so basically to trace the history of this project, Hugh Wilson, who designed Marion, about 4 miles up the road, and by the way, Cobbs Creek, the actual creek itself, connects from Marion down right here to this property.
The 11th hole at Marion.
He came on down here and he saw this piece of property, and at the time he wanted to build a public golf course for the city of Philadelphia, and to round up the funds to do it, there was this all-star team of architects who worked on Pine Valley, who under pseudonyms, and I'm missing pieces of the history here as it was told to us, but there's so much rich history, found a way to get the funds and build this original golf course, this Hugh Wilson gym that in a lot of ways competed with Marion and all the courses in the area in terms of playing quality. So a super cool piece of land here that over the years was lost to time, kind of went in disrepair. But the goal, the vision here is bringing that back, and it's also connected to the TGR Learning Lab. I mean, we're about to go play the Q School, the short course out there. There's a little putting green out there that your buddy Jordan Spieth, the Jordan Spieth Family Foundation, donated. And then there's 9 holes across the street, the Caricon course, that so Gil Hanse and Jim Wagner are working on this. They're restoring this old course. They're doing effectively a restoration of the Hugh Wilson project in the same way that they just did that with Aronimink. And they're going to redesign 9 holes across the street, Jim Wagner is with the Caricung course, and composite 4 across the street and 14 here to create a potential PGA Tour venue in the future. That the nonprofit, the earnings, the dollars here are going back into this program. That I think the coolest part of the day for me, as much as we love touring the golf course, was walking up the stairs here at the TGR Learning Lab and seeing all the pennants of the different colleges that the students here who are coming here for STEM education, all the places they've been placed through the support of this program. So you got to check out, go to cobbscreek.org. If all 45 million of the people watching this donate $1, we can get to the goal.
And just to add to that, where we're recording right now is a podcast studio for the students. There are hundreds of mics in this room next to us for students to come in to learn how to either be a forward-facing podcast host or the production side of it. There's a lot of different opportunities for these students to learn about a little bit about what we do, which I don't know if we're the best people to explain how to do all this, as we're still learning how to do it ourselves. But just so many different cool things that these students can learn, whether it's podcasting or downstairs the robotics section that these teams have traveled and competed internationally, which is so cool to see in a community where these students have an opportunity to really grow and, like you said, go to some incredible colleges. But to speak to just the golf course, I think a couple things I found interesting. One of the big reasons why this golf course really struggled was the flooding of Cobbs Creek. So a big part of this restoration, that creek that runs from Marion all the way over here to Cobbs, a lot of flooding, so they've kind of restored the creek. So we've drove over in a cool motor vehicle to tour the entire golf course, and they have about 8 greens done, but the creek, you could tell just as it was throwing through the property, you have these incredible hills that you get onto the peaks of, where you see the city center skyline of Philadelphia. I know, guys, we're going to get to Aronimink. We're almost there, I promise. But we're really excited about Cobbs Creek. And I thought too, one of the things that they also spoke about was Jim Wagner and his involvement, and of course Gil Hanse. 15 years ago, Jim Wagner decided that he wanted to be a part of this project. This is before maybe Jim Wagner is who he is now, which is to be one of the in this age of architects, to be one of the best, right? And he, before 15 years ago, I don't know if you could have said that. I'm sure he had done great work, but now he is considered to be one of the best. And he was already a part of this project 15 years ago. He grew up in the area.
Played high school golf around the corner.
So it's a place that he's got a lot of history with, and wants to see this area, of course, continue to get back to what the original design was. And getting to see that firsthand was phenomenal. So go check it out, cobbscreek.org, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yes, he nailed it. And it's going to be opening around next fall, is what they said. But man, we got to tour some of the greens, see some of the cavemen out there of Gil Hanse's team, already shaping some of the golf course. So a lot to be excited about for a potential future PGA Tour home here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I think, it's a nice segue into just previewing the PGA Championship, because I think one of the cool things about the majors that move, obviously, Augusta National hosts the Masters every single year, but every time we go to these new places, we're learning about the fabric of the golf community there. And Philly is such an amazing cradle, for really a golden era of golf architecture in the United States of America. And so to not only understand Aronimink, and by the way, if you want really in-depth course previews, there are 2 videos on our channel that are worth directing you to. One is the hole by hole with Keegan Bradley that talks about the practice round he went through and how to play the course. He of course won here in 2018 for the BMW Championship. But then the second being Gil Hanse himself, who worked with Jim Wagner on the restoration of Aronimink in 2016 and 17. Those 2 can get you ready for that course. But I just think it's so cool, seeing the some of the new courses here. We played Trout National.
course that I think is going to test the best players. And we have some history, right? If you want to go back and listen to Keegan Bradley talk about that 2018 or 19? 2018 BMW Championship. It was, of course, very wet that week. So when you go back and look at the scoring, I believe there's 29 players that are in this PGA Championship that were at that BMW. So interesting kind of going back into seeing the scoring and how deep they took it that week. But just based on everything we've learned from interviews this week so far, from players and just, and even just doing the flyers with Keegan, I think the main takeaways right now is that players feel like you have to hit it long off the tee. It's friendly off the tee. The rough is a bit patchy. The pitch of the greens and the green complexes seem to be the storyline. How difficult are they going to make hole locations? And then, of course, I think, too, when we talk about golf architecture, the bunkering. I think it's something that you can see from the tee level where, yes, you're going to have some room out there and you can have driver in your hands and blow it past some of these bunkers. It's going to be the ones that you can't cover, right? And can you avoid those, right? Can you not hit it in some of the places that they're going to have you pitching out and playing, for a third shot? Because it's a golf course filled with a lot of par fours, only 2 par fives. So I'm fascinated in thinking about, are guys going to play this place a little bit conservative at times, but based on what we've seen, this place kind of favors the long hitters, and we've seen a couple of players already in interviews speak to that. So I think we'll have to start there before we kind of get to these players.
That's exactly right. That's a perfect tee up, Smylie. Because I got quotes here from Rory McIlroy and John Rahm. And so to set the table, 2018 BMW Championship here at Aronimink. The course played 7,267 yards. They've added some length since. This week it'll play at 7,394 yards. Of course, it being a par 70. They added length to hole 7, 15, and 18. You mentioned it, the bunkering. I think it's also important to note, you were talking about a little bit about the playing conditions and what we'll expect this week. I think there's some overnight rain, either like Wednesday going to Thursday, Thursday going to Friday.
So that Thursday morning, that could be a really prime opportunity. Wouldn't be surprised to see the winner come out of that morning wave.
Yeah. So they're right away, early, late. Let's look at that category. So we're kind of making our picks later on. But I'd say you mentioned the rough as well. A number of people told us up here, just a tough winter, a cold winter, but a dry winter up here in the Northeast, which obviously is not conducive to grass growth, particularly rough growth. So that's why, when you're looking at the profile player and Rory, we're going to read his quotes right here. Just bang driver as far as you can go.
Yeah, you just play angles. You play angles. You look at the whole location, right side of the green, missing the left rough, and I think this is where the advantage of that morning time is on Thursday, is you could potentially not have to worry about angles on a Thursday morning. You could hit in the right rough and then still be able to get to a front right hole location or a back right hole location. That's the difference potentially in that morning tee time versus the afternoon tee time, especially if you're getting some moisture overnight. So not to say that the winner's going to come out of that, but that when we think about classic Northeast golf, that is always the way I've always approached these golf courses is it's about where you miss it off the tee to give yourself the angle, to give yourself enough room to land it, to have enough runway. So if you do miss, because a lot of times if the fairways especially are angled with hills, it can be difficult to find the fairways. But if they play soft at all, sure, you'll find more fairways. But if it gets firm at all and you find just a fraction of rough and firm greens, it can be very, very challenging.
So the Rory quotes, we'll read some excerpts here. He says, I like the style of golf. And he's speaking about Aronimink, of course. I like the bunkering. There's a lot of bunkers. I think it provides quite a nice bit of variety with shorter par fours, a couple of longer par fours. The par threes, there's 3 pretty long ones and a shorter one. I think in this day and age, I'm not sure if it's going to test all aspects of your bag. There's going to be a lot of, again, as I said, strategy off the tee is pretty non-existent. It's basically bash driver down there and then figure it out from there, which I think is a lot of these newly renovated. I think about Oak Hill in 2023 here, when these traditional golf courses take a lot of trees out, it makes strategy not as much of a concern off the tee. But the greens are, as I said at the start, the greens are the main focus this week. And I think getting yourself in the right sections of the greens, making sure you leave yourself below the hole for the most part, that's the key this week. And I can stop there because I have more tree quotes from Rom in a second, but just reflecting.
Yeah.
Boy, trees, we put out a clip on social this week, and you were in the comments debating the trees. JT's in the comments. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with Rom, but reflect on Rory there, maybe about like just right section of the green, that part of it.
It's to me, it's a mix of a bunch of different golf courses in my head. Like, I think Travelers Championship. I think that's kind of classic Northeast golf to me at times, where you get, especially more so like the front in the beginning of the back nine, where you get a lot of wedges in your hands, but you have these green complexes that have a bunch of pitches with hole locations that are very tricky that you have to play from the correct side. But then you also get some big boy holes out here, some long par threes, more of the Oak Hill types of holes that we experienced at up in Rochester, where you're hitting
Also Donald Ross course.
Yeah,
so equivalence there.
Where you're hitting 4 3-irons, 7 woods into par threes, and then also I think the 15th hole, just the finishing stretch, requires you to hit a lot of big boy golf shots. But then the front side, you have a ton of wedges, and that has more of the Travelers Championship vibe to me, to where it's all a little bit about where you leave it off of the tee to kind of give yourself the best angle with wedges in your hands. But I do feel like it's going to be a course that you got to be on your front foot. You can't go out having an even par round. Feels like to me we'll see the winner kind of in that 20 under range would be my guess at the end of the week. I think so.
So even though
15 to 20,
even though 20 was a playoff in 2018 when it was wet, you still think they'll get to that number?
These guys are really good. Especially you get some soft, I just think if you get any type of rain on Wednesday night, I just feel like these guys are going to tear it up Thursday, Friday. You give these players wedges, unless they're like, if the wind is down at all, yeah, they're going to go tear it up. I know it's a PGA Championship. I know this golf course can be very difficult, but if the rough is not up all the way around and it's patchy, these guys are too good. They're too good. That's why I think this is a place where I think you could see something like 14 under leading after Friday.
Over the summer, where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum, is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans, currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit.
I like
to test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah, okay. You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
You know, just think. You know, if you take, for instance, like a Firestone, this is a golf course that they used to play on the PGA Tour. Very, very narrow fairways, but very tree lined. And I could tell you, as a player that used to play it in Akron, I hit 3 fairways in the first round, and I tell you that I felt like I was in a jungle trying to get out of this place. Like you couldn't. It was just pitch back out in the fairway. You had nothing.
Yeah.
You know, very low hanging trees in some spots with rough. You can't. That's the thing. Like when you are in the rough with trees, and especially trees that have limbs that are low, punching shots out of the rough is really, really challenging. And if the rough is, let's say, 4 inches high, like it's a chip out into the fairway every time. You can't hit low cuts out of that unless it's down grain. Like if the ball's sitting down in rough, there's nothing that you can do unless there's a tree in front of you that you can hoist something over. But trying to hit low running hooks and low running cuts is a very difficult shot unless you have it down grain. So trees, if there are no trees there, all of a sudden, okay, I got that line in the rough. All of a sudden, I can just rip wedge and still get it up around the green and still save par and not have to hit an 80-yard wedge shot to try to save par. Well, yeah, like your scoring average is effectively going to go down over the course of 72 holes. That's just basic math, right? So where do I stand on it? For testing the best players in the world, I couldn't agree more that trees are needed. And I don't I don't like the tree movement, but I also don't like bad lies in the fairway. So where do I stand here on that? I would probably lean more to trees because I am a traditionalist in that I love shot shaping. Like Hilton Head to me, first off, it looks great on TV, just the visuals that you have. And then there's that artistry component that I think that I felt like I always hit my best shots when it wasn't a range 7-iron. It's like, oh, I have to hit something around the tree. It's like what my mind and my body just sees the shot and just knows how to create it. And I think that's the part of the game that I love, the artistry that trees can create. So when you take away trees at traditional golf courses like Aronimink, and you're just relying on architecture to try to challenge the players, the only way to do that is with rough, firmness, and Mother Nature, and green speeds. And so if you have it, all it takes is hand down, man down. These guys are going to hit 3-pointers, man. They're just too freaking good. So if the wind is down, you get a little bit of rain, you got no trees. I said 14 under. That would be the high end after Friday. But like, who's to say that somebody's not going to go out and shoot 63, 64 the first 2 days? I think it's totally possible to see somebody in that 12 to 14 under range after the first 2 days. Now, if there's no rain the rest of the week, it'll firm up, and maybe you'll see guys kind of average in that 2 to 3 under range the rest of the way. But I think 16 under is what I would be thinking as a player. Like if I shoot 4 under every day on average, that's most likely where we're going to end up at the end of the week.
Yeah, I think it's the tree conversation is so it's nuanced, and I think sometimes we make it reductive in spaces like social media because there's a limited room for characters, or people are just leaving comments, they're lacking full context. To me, it's specific to Aronimink. There were the trees that Donald Ross originally planted and expected to grow, and there were trees that were added on the back end. Now, we could look at that and say, okay, so I understand why if Gil Hanse's task was we want this to be as close to the original design as Donald Ross, we have to remove all those trees and make it look like that. Then there's a secondary conversation of, do we want it to be the original Donald Ross intent, or do we think that the addition of trees in certain places creates a different type of challenge that is better suited to challenging the modern player? Now, I don't know if the members, and I'm the modern pro player, I should say, I don't know if the members would love all those trees all the time for a number of reasons, for difficulty and for grass conditions. But I think the thing for me that's also interesting is that when people defend trees, say don't take out trees, the examples they often give are places that were designed with trees in mind. Like Hilton Head, Harbor Town, the course was designed to incorporate all those trees in each of the holes. So of course, it's a great reference for shot shaping and that type of challenge. But then when you compare it to a course that didn't have those originally and played a certain way and then it's changed over the years, we can have a conversation or a debate as to whether you like the original version or the new version. But it's hard to say well, that was how it was supposed to be played. It's like, well, it's really subjective. It's a matter of opinion. You either like one or the other.
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
I guess if we're going to talk about golf courses with trees like Hilton Head, I think the best example on the other side of the coin is Oakmont, right? Oakmont is a place that we were just at last U.S. Open, a place that in its infancy stage had no trees, but then they planted a bunch of trees, and then eventually had to take them all down, and that was a huge conversation. If length would be the first thing I would look at, and if you don't have the length, then you need to be dang accurate, right? Like you need to be a high accuracy driver of the golf ball. So for instance, like Matt Fitzpatrick, is he the longest player in the world? No, but he's very, very accurate. So that keeps him in the ball game. But if you're short and crooked, well, first of all, that's no way. You don't want to go through life short and crooked. But that's not a good. It's not a good recipe for
that on a motivational post.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at wedge play, right? Like who's good from 50 to 125 yards? Like that's going to be a key component. And then also par 3 play. Who's good in that 200 to 225 yard range? So it's that combination that if you can find some profile of some guys that's there's plenty of guys that do that all very well. But then too, I think putting. It's going to be unique putting week as you're going to have. I don't think there's going to be very many cookie cutter putts. It's a lot of break around these greens. They're going to put these hole locations on top of crowns, a lot of double breakers, the ups to the downs. So that's going to be an interesting set. It's like who's going to be able to make the 10 to 15 footers. Cam Young was absolutely electric. And Doral, but these greens aren't even close to similar to Doral. Like these greens would be way more on I would say like the Travelers Championship of greens. A little bit more slope at greens. Philly Cricket Club, also a place they played last year, like Sepp Straka, of course, would be a good name to look at this week. A really good wedge player, accurate drive of the golf ball, and then also a guy who can get the Austrian microwave with the putter at times. So
the Austrian microwave. I
know you want to dive through a bunch of names, and if you want to just say why we like them, why we don't. I don't know if that's where we're heading. Live producing as we go.
I'm gonna pose a little question to you that stumped Jackson and I yesterday at Trout National. Just bamboozled us because our caddy Ryan was awesome, by the way. I think we were walking up like 14 fairway, and he's like, "Let me ask you a question about the PGA this week. Which member of the Spring Break 2016 crew do you think has the best chance to win this week?" And I was like, "Golly." That's a really good question.
I don't even know, man.
Is it Ricky, who just came off a great week at Quail, finished tied for 8th here in the 2018 BMW? Is it JT, who went out and just got a carbon copy of Cam Young's putter that's been so hot this season and had a great week last week at Quail? Is it Jordan, who's been driving great this year, or is it Smylie Kaufman?
Well, why don't we start there? What do you think? What do you think? For me,
what do you think for you?
what do you think? What do you need to see from my game from now until Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do a pretty good job of controlling your spin with wedges. So if it rains, I'm not too worried about you.
Thank you.
I think you're rolling it pretty good right now.
Thank you.
And this course kind of sets up nicely for Smylie Kaufman
too,
because you can just bomb it.
I'm worried about the par threes.
I think the par 3 play could definitely be a factor for you, but I just trust that you're gonna get some confidence off the tee early on, bombing some drives, hitting some good shots out of there, even out of the rough. You get to the tee, the par 3s. I think you got a good chance this week. I like this course for you.
Okay, noted. How many shots am I getting? All right.
I think 2 or 3 sides fair.
So the Spring Break boys, I think Ricky's been the only player that's really been in true contention this year. JT at the Players Championship had a nice week, right? Finished in the top 5, but never was like truly contending for the tournament. Ricky, of course, Truist. Sorry, my brain's still on that.
Correct.
That's right. So the Truist, Ricky legitimately had a chance to win.
Yes.
Like he hit some incredible shots down the stretch, and I think having that in his back pocket, and of course, I think Ricky's not necessarily the longest player, but he's plenty long enough to be able to take out some of these bunkers. I think the mini driver been a nice asset for him. A very, very good wedge player, high IQ player that we talked about, and a very good putter. So this very well could be a good week for Ricky. JT, it's been a lot of, it's been hard to kind of decipher his year so far, coming off of back surgery. He's really struggled with the putter this year at times, but he's also had pop putting weeks too. So like putted well at the Players Championship, but then like really poorly in Doral and Hilton Head. We're also
he stroke on the field this last week though.
Yeah, exactly.
New,
so like
right?
he putted well with the Cam Young putter this past week. At Quail, and then the driver was also good. So he's done some really nice things, but then also really been inconsistent in some areas. Of course, like not really concerned about his iron game. Incredible wedge player, controlling spin. That's something that we've talked about is important. And then Jordan, it was so fun listening to his interview. It's always a great interview. Of course, if he wins this week, he would complete the Grand Slam. He said, you kind of treat this week as one that you show up trying not to win. You just try to, execute one shot after another. But he wants to be in contention. Just give himself a chance. I don't think he's really had a chance to win yet this year. He was in the last couple of groups in Doral and had gotten off to a great start in Doral, like being right around the lead, but never really gave himself an opportunity coming down the back nine to really truly have a chance to win. So that's asking a lot, I think, at this point, just to give yourself. I think if he gives himself a chance, he can definitely go out and win. But can he get himself into that position? I think would be my biggest question marks. And he's also, he called it whack-a-mole with his game. And he said he's been leading in strokes gained off the tee or approach or around the green and putting at some point at every event this year. But then he's also had one part of his game really let himself not allow himself to compete and be in contention, where you've seen a lot of finishes in that 10 to 30 range. And not to say it's poor by any means, but it's just not to the level that he thinks he can get to. So that would be something I would watch with Jordan is can you find a way to put it all together? I think it's a good golf course for him. He likes the way he's driving it, which I think is really, really important. He has that added length, low 180s ball speed when he needs it. And I think it'll come down to, for Jordan, is the putter. With some slopey, pitchy greens. He's been looking more at the hole inside of 5-6 feet, and at times it looks a little kind of timid. can you putt freely? Can you putt freely inside of 6 feet? If he's able to do that and make those momentum putts, that's the key for Jordan. Keeping momentum, keeping the bogeys off the card, keeping that volatility of the whack-a-mole away.
It does feel, though, that if there is going to be a place where he's going to play well, I remember, again, a few years ago on the show, him talking about he doesn't like driving range 7-iron. He doesn't like a straight putt, and that there might be something about, you know, the nature of a Donald Ross golf course, and the rolling nature of the land, not getting a ton of flat lies, and, you know, having some tricky putts that just seems to wake up the Jordan Spieth competitive sort of mindset.
I think he's going to play well. I think they're all actually going to have good weeks.
I think if you want to know where his headspace is at, he was asked in his press conference about using an analogy of grilling meat to describe the process of working on getting his swing back, and the beginning of his answer was, I was just kind of thinking, I was smoking chicken in the fall on a big smoker I have, and I got up to 155 quickly, and then it takes a while. I was like, man, this kind of feels like what I'm trying to do in the swing.
Meat stalls.
The meat stalls.
Yeah.
The meat stalls a little bit. So they're grilling meat and Jordan Spieth swing and the same sort of breath there. So I feel like let's just start kind of popping around talking about some of the favorites in the field. And it's crazy we've gotten this far on the episode without talking about Scottie Scheffler, who does have the shortest odds to win this tournament, and obviously has not had a bad year by any normal human being standard. In fact, his last 3 finishes are all runner-ups. Second at the Cadillac, second at RBC Heritage, second at the Masters.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call that a bad year.
It's not a bad year at all. And he, of course, won to start the year at the Amex.
He finished second at the Masters.
Look, he only has, of all of his starts this year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's only finished outside of the top 5 in 3 of those. I mean, it's absurd. But the thing we've seen, the trend has been not getting off to hot starts on Thursday. I mean, is it that simple for you in terms of whether or not Scotty's going to contend? Like, we should go look up his tee time. Like, if he has an early morning tee time on Thursday.
Yeah, I think for Scotty, you know, a big reason why he didn't play well at the Masters is that win the Masters is that that Thursday afternoon round was so firm, right? The golf course had been so difficult, and then that Friday morning they slowed the pace down to the greens, and Scotty didn't make the adjustment. And
over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit.
I like
to test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, okay. You don't know? You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
but my mind keeps going to one of those two live guys with Rahm and Bryson. I just have this weird feeling that one of these two guys is going to contend. Of the PGA Tour players that have played well this year, with Ludwig, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Cam Young, I just don't like Fitzy as much this week, with potential of wedge play that's improved, but it's still something that like isn't quite as good as the rest of his game. Like his putting has been a little bit off this year at times. That worries me a little bit. Cam Young's wedge play at times. Ludwig is kind of a box of chocolates. I feel like it's definitely, it's been really good, right? But I don't know if he's better than somebody else at getting to back hole locations as like a Sepp Straka, you know.
Do you feel like Ludwig needs to win a high profile tour event before he can win a major?
No, absolutely not. But I wouldn't, like, this wouldn't be the place that I would say is. I find better venues for Ludwig than here.
Yes,
I see other guys having better weeks, and that's why I go to a guy like Jon Rahm. That's kind of where I think my pick is going to be this week with Jon.
Okay, that's it.
I like his length off the tee. He's a very, very good wedge player that can work it both ways, and then he's fit for the par threes. He can play the par threes very well, and then I think it's just going to come down to the putter. But Jon Rahm is going to be my pick. But I do love Scotty this week a lot. Yeah. And maybe I should probably take Scotty, but I'm always end up taking live guys for our one and dones just because I don't get to use them anywhere else.
We kind of killed the one and done.
I know. No, we're back. We're back.
The one and done's back?
Yeah.
That's breaking news. The one and done's back.
I'm going Jon Rahm.
You're going Jon Rahm. I don't even have the spreadsheet up, so I might just end up picking someone that I've already taken. In fact, yeah, I burned Cam Young at Sony, I think, maybe, or something like really stupid.
Before you get there,
okay,
I'm going to give you a group of players, and these players, I would say, are not the longest players on that are playing on tour. Four names that I'm gonna throw at you: Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, Colin Morikawa, and Tyrrell Hatton. Of those four guys, I want you to rate top four for those players this week, because I think all four players have a good case of contending and winning here. And I'm just curious of how you make up of that list of four guys.
I feel like, as I'm looking at this list, I keep getting my eyes drawn back to Colin Morikawa. I mean, I feel like
it's the putter, man. If he putts well,
and I mean, so he has that injury, of course, at the Players, but if you look at the rest of the season, he won at Pebble, T7 at Genesis, 5th at the API, tied for 7th at the Masters. I mean, the Masters. There are a couple of events where like he was having trouble pulling the ball out of the hole.
I know.
Tied for 4th at the Heritage, and he's still playing this good of golf. Now he didn't play great at Doral, but I mean that was a weird week, and it's a tough venue. Part of me wants to pick Colin Morikawa this week.
Yeah.
I just feel like the game's in a great place.
First strokes gained approach. I mean, he led in putting at the Masters, right? Like what? And he didn't win? Like, what happened? Oh, he was hurt. But he had that 4 weeks in a row where the putter, I mean, like green pop weeks, struggled bad with the putter Doral.
He did.
I don't know how I think he didn't play quail, did he?
He did not play quail.
Yeah, so he took a week off, get a little more healthy. But, dude, I love Colin this week. I think if you just kind of reset with the putter and, like, seeing that he's had some good weeks with the putter, dude, yeah.
I think Colin, I think I'd put Sepp at 2.
Winning in Philly, something to that.
There's something to it. I mean,
it's a style of play.
It take us right back to where we started the top of this episode, where there is a distinct style of golf here.
Yeah.
You know, and Philly cricket is not dissimilar to Aronimink. I know different designers, but like, you know, you're a lot of the same design elements or features of the land are in place, and so I like Sepp a lot.
So with Sepp and Colin. So Colin Morikawa from 50 to 125 yards. And now most approach stats, Colin Morikawa is going to be high up there. But his average is 15 feet, which is second on the PGA Tour. Sepp Straka is the 5th best wedge player from 50 to 125 yards.
You really
just a couple inches behind him. So like those are two players that are at the top of the board there. when it comes to like having a lot of like maybe some short wedges. But again, are they gonna be hitting their driver long enough to be in some of these shorter range as maybe some of the other guys?
But I also think too, like with Colin, the thing I love is that he's precise with his long irons too, which as is Sepp.
Exactly.
I think it was last year. Sepp was top 5, maybe top 10 in procs from like 180 to 200.
Yeah, which you're not going to get a ton of those yardages this week.
But I'm saying if you're not long, I mean, we heard Keegan talk about our preview about he had 240 yards in on 18 when he played it in 2018. They added another 40 yards to the hole. So there are definitely going to be spots where those guys are going to have to hit long irons. Like it feels like the flow of the golf course is you have a lot of wedges in your hand early on, and then when you get to the back, there are some of those longer approaches, whether it's into a par 5 or it's an 18th hole up the hill where you can't even see the green.
There's a lot of blindness element to this golf course. Just not being able to see but half the flag stick and just trusting your number. And that's why
Colin. I want Colin. I'm going Colin.
I think you're right.
I'm sold on Colin this week.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But watch out for Russell Henley too and Tyrrell Hatton.
You trust? I listen. Both great players. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around Russell or Tyrrell, but I like it. I like throwing some sleepers for the people out there.
Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna go Rom and I'm gonna go Colin.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's where we're at. And
that's where we're at.
But I do think
Warner Dunn is back.
But I do think Scotty Scheffler wins. To be fair.
Okay.
Well, it's not fun to pick Scotty.
It's not fun to pick Scotty. Yeah. We that's very chalky. Very chalky. It does feel like he's just gonna all this chatter about him not playing good. He's gonna come in here and hit a bunch of wedges to 8 feet and just make a ton of birdies.
I do think it's time to talk about Trout National.
Yeah. Man, I'm getting out there. There's something I'm allergic to in here. I have the sniffles. The
No,
sniffles
you've
are
had
all
the
the way back.
sniffles for 6 months.
I've had the sniffles for 6
It's
months,
not true.
but something is watering. It's this. Is it this? Am I allergic to this fern? I'll tell you right now. Yeah, might be the fern. Are we talking Trout National?
Talking Trout National.
Where are we gonna? How do you want to start this and end this?
Well,
what do you want
let's
to do in
talk
the
about
middle
our
of this?
over-unders.
Okay.
Let's talk about our over-unders. We had the book out on my over-under at 71.5. We had yours at 79.5. Is where we eventually adjusted. There was heavy action that moved it up. And then I think it's more so when we got on property and then also
7,000 yardage.
Granted, I haven't hit a good fairway bunker shot in 3 years. Meanwhile, standing with a 4-iron in my hands, thinking like, hey, yeah, why not? If I make eagle here, shoot 5 under, like 67, that'd be a heck of a day. Proceed to hit it in the forehead, and I'm yelling for it to skip. Didn't skip. So bogey the last hole to shoot 70, cashy under by 1.5, and now let's set our over-under for 9 holes at the Q School.
Okay, all right.
And will there be a hole-in-one parlay? Let's throw that out there.
Okay, I think we got to go yes on hole-in-one.
Okay.
Just for vibes.
Yes.
Right? I mean...
Are we cool? Like, I know you're in the shrink the game movement right now. So are you okay with me running to the green?
Yes.
If I make a hole-in-one?
Yes. You're allowed... I mean, because it's YouTube golf, so, you know...
No. You're in the shrink the game movement. You can't be... to either take one side or the other here.
No. I mean, I want to shrink the parts of the game that don't apply to me. I like the game to remain pretty wide open for me. Well, we got to decide, are we going to run to the green if it happens, and does it count because it's a par 3 course?
Ooh. It won't make the official big board of hole-in-ones.
We can run, though.
But I will officially tell people about it.
Okay, so...
If that's fair.
I think it's very fair. We're saying yes to hole-in-one, yes, we're going to run. It'll be unofficial.
Hold on. Can we stretch before, like, if the ball goes in, can we have, like, a quick timeout of stretching so that we don't pull a hammy?
We just all stop. There's, like, a hard cut. Like, we just do some calisthenics.
Jax is gonna have to run us through layup lines to, like, make sure we're
Well, that's actually another part of the trout is that we're in that. All this seemed to happen on 15, I guess, yesterday, 14 or 15, where Jax is like, he's like walking up this perfectly manicured fairway, and he's like doing like side shuffle and like shuttle sprints. He's like, guys, I think I can run a 4.6 right now, or a 4.68. I run a 4.6840. I was like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, with the amount of casual water you drank today, plus like you're in khakis, like you'd be hard pressed to break 4.8 in my mind. But we had a little bit of recalibration this morning over breakfast. Like,
Speaking of recalibration, when you eat that much ice cream post tomahawk steak, that's a recalibration that nobody can do.
Yeah.
But look at you hosting a podcast today.
Yeah, there was great soft serve. I can't do soft serve ice cream on this episode. I really can't. I wish I could. I really can't.
If we're doing a combine of sorts for the show, we're having Jackson run a 40-yard dash with no shoes on. And we're having Charlie see how many ice cream sundaes he can eat.
A lot, and there is no limit. What's the quote from Mean Girls? The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist.
Yeah, we got there.
I don't know what you have me do, but yeah, we're slowly coming up with our combine. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't even know what we were talking about before that, but now I think we were saying
over under on the par 3.
Over under the par 3. I think it's got to be pretty close to. I think you're over under
2.5 under.
Yeah, I think yours is 24.5. Yep.
Oh, we're not a math pod, is that
right? 20.
Yeah, that's right.
Minus 2.5, 24.5. We got there. I mean, I'll set my. I want to go out and play a good round. Wow, I hit it okay.
I'm going
28.5.
Gosh, your wedge game kind of sucks.
My wedge game doesn't kind of suck. My wedge game is kind of harsh. That's a little harsh. I think my wedge game
like in comparison to like what I deem to be good wedge play.
That did not make it any better. All right. Okay. All right. We'll see. Well,
you can't finish like this and be a good wedge player.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll change the way I finish out there today for you. I'm gonna see a bunch of cutoff finishes.
I mean, we're at the TGR Learning Lab. Like, just think Tiger. I'm finish with the hands low, dude.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna beat 28.5. I'm gonna just shove it right down your.
This is like an opportunity for you to beat me too, but I don't see it happening.
I'm gonna beat you. Give me the long odds on that. I'm gonna beat Smylie Gross.
Ooh, what are those odds? Jax, what do you set those odds at? Charlie beating me straight up.
I'm gonna beat Smylie straight up. Go watch the park video. We had it close there for a while.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
After seeing Smiley's wedge game though yesterday, I think it's a little tougher.
We're hitting. It'll be off mats.
Plus, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Plus,
which I think helps Charlie in this.
Plus,
I'm a ball striker. Smylie.
I'm gonna go plus 275.
Wow.
Oh, that's I'll take that.
I mean,
yeah,
Vegas.
Thank you for the kind compliment. Yeah, hey, we'll take that.
I don't know if anybody's taking plus 275. I think everybody's letting that number go by.
And I'm also going to bet on me making the ace.
ooh.
How about that? And I'm going to bet on Smylie pulling a hamstring when we run up to the hole.
Yeah, we need to go play. We got to go. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
This has been The Smylie Show.
You know, I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
All of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the...
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game. The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March, so some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on